So we've got talkings about a brand new series from Hero, like already since the ending of Fairy Tail, and a sort of pseudo release date already. Like Hero is already working very fast on this series and has a kind of guess estimate alongside with some of the stuff that he wants to talk about as well, or like how he wants to improve and where possibly this next series could take us. There was an interview as well during New York Comic Con. There was another one during the press jacket, and they got like Hiro Mashima to the side, and there was a lot more details that they thankfully went into, which I was expecting the actual fans to ask, but no, it was up to the fucking interviewers themselves to push on some of these things I want to talk about. And definitely I want to focus on that on another video, but mainly I want to talk about one of the more juicier pieces of news is they really pushed him like quite hard with like asking about, you know, what did you learn from like, you know, from Raid and from Maya, like what do you want to use to your next series. And it's saying like you clearly have a huge passion for like fantasy series, and like have you ever considered like, you know, going back into these worlds? Do you want to? Like, is the next series going to be like this as well? Like, there were talks in this, like, an entire arc where they were talking about, have you ever considered revisiting Grave Master, as this is a series you had, and kind of scratching that away already, which was something I never really thought about, and I'm kind of glad. Like, he did, like, say during it, is saying, like, I've actually, like, had a lot of people requesting, like, characters from Raid, and, like, I thought about it, and the sad truth is that he said he generally doesn't know how to draw a lot of those characters from that series anymore, which kind of makes sense in a way where, like, if you ever look at, like, some, like, authors, like, especially if you ever look at, like, Kishimoto, Kubo, like, and especially Araki, you see how much their art style changes throughout the years. Like, original Kishimoto style was a lot more heavily detailed than kind of what it was later on, but then it had, like, really, like, I do think a lot of the Kishimoto's didn't really drop in quality, but I do kind of like the original old style. Same thing with Fairy Tail. I way prefer the older art style than I do to like kind of the more modern art style that they kind of went for. Even Araki's older style as well was a lot more focused on kind of like buff, manly men, like Fist in the North Star era kind of stuff. And then during part 5 to like later part 4, he started changing his art style. And we've even seen with like certain, like when he's done little redrawings of his characters, he cannot draw Jonathan Joestar. He cannot do Joseph. He cannot do Jotaro again. Those characters have escaped him at this point. He cannot draw that era of what he had. Nowadays, his art style is heavily inspired from his part 5 and 7 days. Like, it is how it is now, which is a sad thing. And I feel like that's a little bit upsetting to hear, but when he talked about a new series, a new, like, whole little franchise itself, he talked about how he wanted to try something new, where he didn't want to go into fantasy again. He said he might do it because he loves fantasy so much. Like, there was even parts of the interview he was talking about where, like, you know, I'm just enthralled by it. Like, his favorite thing ever is, like, Game of Thrones. He needs that stuff in his life. But also, he's talking about, like, I've got my editor pushing me real hard for a new series already. And we are considering 2018. 2018 is like, we want to push this. We want this something to happen, like, immediately. Like, I feel like that's something where it's like, you know, guess what? We want to put into that. And, like, they were even talking as like, as you move on to your new series and all that, you're going to be carrying stuff, like, from Fairy Tail and your other series and all that. He's like, and he was talking about, one of the things that I focused on, as he's focused on the original interviews as well, is like, he wanted to focus on love next, if anything, with what other next series he does. He also described that he wanted to focus on characters a lot. It wasn't more like fight scenes, which, to be fair, if he does another action series, I kind of hope he works on a little bit more, like, to be fair. But when he was talking about, it's like, I want character, like, personality. I don't want them to just be bland fucks. I want them to actually have, you know, something that just doesn't make them bland, run-of-the-mill characters. And I'm worried whether or not that's going to have, like, if he's going to actually, like, follow through with that, or whether or not he's going to go back to, like, Fairy Tail again. Like, he's clearly said that he wants to go back to it at some point. Whether or not he's tired, like, of it, like, right now, that could be a few years from now. It depends on if this next series is a success or not. But whether or not he can, like, focus on this romance and stuff in the next series, that'd be interesting. If he just goes away from fantasy and he's like, I want to do a slice of life series, or fuck it, I'm going to go back to Fairy. It kind of scratches one out already that Raid Master is no longer a real possible thing that he's going to go back to. I know he has a bunch of, like, one-shots. There's, like, a whole, like, 2-volume thing about him just focusing on some of the one-shots, some of the stuff that inspired Fairy Tail, Raid, like, a bunch of stuff that he was working on. There was also as well Monster Soul that he worked on for, like, a couple of volumes. Like, he has quite a few options that he can go back to if he wants to, but And if it comes to Fairy Tail, well, he's always got, like, the next generation, which clearly, like, he's been gauging from what he saw from his Twitter, when, like, people lost their shit when they started seeing Natsu and Gray's children, like, so he's already got that stuff, that incentive, but I honestly feel like he's going to try something new first, and if he brings that Fairy Tail, since, like, it has been very much heavily working nowadays, where it's like, bring back something that people love. I think, like, now that Fairy Tail's ended in such the bad press that I do think it deserves at the end with, like, that final arc, I think the best thing to do is start a new series, let Fairy Tail fucking sit for a while, like, whether or not that's, like, 5 years or so, being genuinely honest here about it. I would like to see, like, some more stuff with the characters, but I would honestly like to see the S-Class mission that they were going about and focus on the kids. I still think that would have been a nice... If that will be an epilogue arc that they do, that would be kind of nice to do. But generally, I would like to see something new. When it comes to authors, I like to see something new. I want to see something fresh from them. It's why, like, I was very shocked when, like authors like what we get to see of My Hero Academia's original work, Barrage, he went from such a different, like, perspective. Same thing with, like, what we got with Hungry Joker from Yuki Tabata to, like, Black Clover. And, like, I want to see stuff like that, because they do have some originality in some of them. And I know Hero has some really great, like, worlds and all that he has in his head. It's just whether or not he can follow through with them. But that is all the end of this video. I've got some more stuff to talk about in this interview, though. One that incredibly pissed me off, which you're going to enjoy very soon. But that's all from me. Thank you as always for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about all the stuff that we've been finding about Fairy Tail. Do you think Fairy Tail, like, next is going to be the thing that we're going to be having, like, in the future? Let's have a look and all that. So I'll see you guys, though, next time.